Okay, 8.2. Here's the formula for finding the nth term. I talked about it, but we didn't actually write it out. So let's label each term. And the two things you need to find in order to use this formula are the zeroth term, and then the common difference. As long as you can find those two things, so we'll label those first. This is the zeroth term, and that's why there's a zero, a sub zero. And then this is the D is for the common difference. It's basically what you're adding each time, but we call it the common difference because you can find it by subtracting any two consecutive terms. If you knew it was arithmetic, you could find D quickly by just subtracting two consecutive terms. So it's called the common difference. If you know those two things, you plug them in and there's your formula. You leave a sub n as it is, and that stands for the nth term. And that's why this is the formula for the nth term. And then you leave this n, and that's actually the term that stands for the term number. So this is the formula for finding the nth term of an arithmetic sequence. So we'll basically, the formula or the rule, same thing. Write a rule, write a formula. And we'll start by practicing one you've seen before. So how do we find the zeroth term if we have 17, 15, 13? Well, first, what's the common difference? -2, right? So we're halfway there. You could just subtract like 15 minus 17, you get -2. And then how are we going to find, this is the first term, second term, third term. How do we find the zeroth term? Yeah, so you do the opposite. When you want to go backward, that's important. Do the opposite. So you would add 2 and you get 19. So that's your a sub 0. And so all we have to do for our nth term on these is, and this is what your quiz will be on next time, is you just take the first term, just like the formula said, the zeroth term, and then you plus n times d. So that would be minus 2 is the common difference, n. And you can double check your answer. If you plug in 1 for the term number, you would get 17. If you plugged in 2, you would get 15, and etc. So any questions on that? Okay, now it gets a little bit trickier when you're given the 11th term. Okay, I know the 11th term and I know the common difference. So this part we're fortunate enough to be given. So actually we're kind of halfway there, but how do you find the 0th term when you know the 11th term? So how would you work backward? How many times would you have to do something, Tyler?
You would add 7 11 times.
Perfect. You would add 7 11 times. So you would start with -57, and you would do the opposite of subtracting 7. You would add 7 because you're going backwards, and you would do it 11 times because you were given the 11th term, and you want to work backwards. So you're going to add 7 11 times to -57. And so if you do the math there, you'll get 20. And so that's a sub 0 equals -57 plus 7 11 times is 20. And so we can write the nth term, our formula is the 0th term 20 and then minus 7 times n. And then we can find any term we want. And then the last one, now we're not given the common difference or the 0th term. We're given 2 terms in the sequence. So the easiest way I can explain to do this is something you noticed earlier, that these functions are linear when they're arithmetic. So you can pretend like this is a point. So pretend you're given 2 points on a line. And you're going to find the equation of the line, the y-intercept and the slope. So the first point is 7, 26, right? The term number is 7. the term is 26, and the second point is 1671. So there's your 2 points on your line. Find the equation. So it's really good review. The slope is, how do you find the slope of a line? Change in y over change in x. So for every one term number we move over, how much does the slope increase or decrease by? So that will give you 45 over 9, which is 5. So we're actually adding 5 every time. So we know our common difference is 5. And then let's use the method we used last time to find the 0th term. Although you could use y equals mx plus b. You could totally, so what do you want to do? You want to use y equals mx plus b, or do it the way we did last time? Okay, I'll show you how to do both. So method 1, y equals mx plus b. We're looking for b, the y-intercept. So you pick a point, let's say 726. So y equals, the slope is 5 times x plus b. So 35. So we subtract 35 and we get -9. And so we can do it that way, or method 2, to review from before, is you start with the 26th term. So the 0th term is equal to the 26th term, and then you subtract 5 7 times. And that also gives you, conveniently, -9. So but that's not our final answer. We're ready for our final answer. Is the nth term equals the 0th term, which is -9, and then plus 5n. And certainly if you have time on a quiz, plug 7 in here and make sure that you get 26, and plug 16 in and make sure you get 71.